We have a next presenter, Professor Dr. Maliha Zeba Khan. She's assistant professor at Department of International Relations, National University of Modern Languages in Islamabad. Dr. Khan's presentation on the emerging regional security constructs of the Indian Ocean region, a geopolitical chessboard of the US, China, and Russia. Its floor is your, Dr. Maliha Zeba Khan. Please turn on your video. If you have a presentation, so you can share the presentation.
Thank you very much, Professor. Am I audible to you?
Yes, yes, madam, yes. But we don't see you.
Because I'm trying to connect my
Oh,
presentation with you.
okay,
This is
okay,
why
okay.
you cannot see me. So is it visible?
Okay, okay, no problem. Something. Yes, yes, yes. I got it. Thank you, madam.
Great. Great. And greetings, dear colleagues. So as Dr. Faisal has already introduced about the topic, I think I must go straight to the presentation, as time which has been given is really limited. Since we are talking about emerging regional security construct of Indian Ocean region, this is important to understand that why this region is important. The list of content has been flashed here, and if we look at the first slide, which is here, is about importance of Indian Ocean region. If we look at the contemporary era, we see that the focus of states has been shifted from land to oceans. Everything which is taking place has a good share of oceans in all the related activities. States cannot do anything in the absence of their maritime connectivity. And this is the geographical location of Indian Ocean region that makes it important in the first place. If we look at Indian Ocean region, we see that on the eastern side, there is Australia and then Southeast Asia. And in the north of the ocean, there is Asia, South Asia, I must say. And then on the left side, on the western side, we find that there is Middle East as well as Africa. So the region is quite important in terms of its proximity and its neighborhood. And then if we look at its activity, we see that this region is all the one which has become hub of every kind of activity. More than 80% of trade that passes through this oceanic region, and other economic activities are also based here. Then military activities are also having a good share in this region. And then political activities are also part of this oceanic region's activities, and then social activities which are also linked with this region, making it very important for every state. And if I talk about the number of states, there are 36 states which are natural member or regional actor of this region, whereas we find that there are number of extra regional actors, and then there are two resident actors like UK and France. So, in the presence of different actors and extra regional actors, we find that things are getting pretty complicated. There are several extra regional actors, but the dominant ones are USA, obviously, and China for other reasons as well, and Russia, which have been made point of discussion for this presentation. Otherwise, this region is full of extra regional actors, particularly the actors from Europe. They have their specific interest in this region due to their economic and environmental concerns. And then we find another thing which is important in this region is maritime corridors for economic connectivity. That has increased the importance of this region for every country, because economy needs connectivity. You need to develop different kind of slocks, sea lines of communications, or shipping lines, international shipping lines. So without economic connectivity, uh, this is not possible for states to develop their trade and commerce. And next thing is increased militarization of the oceanic regions, particularly Indian Ocean region has become the focal point. More than 70 navies are active here in this region, and there is naval modernization, which is opening different avenues, which is bringing further bringing contestation and competition in the region. And then we see that non-traditional maritime security is another important relevant point to this region, which is gathering attention of countries. And then technological advancement. So this was only the introduction of this oceanic space. Moving to the regional security complex of IOR, this, excuse me, this presentation has been based on Barry Buzan and Ole Weber's regional security complex. I have tried to apply it here. You can see RSC of IOR here. It has 4 variables. Basic 4 variables are here. Number 1 is boundary. Number 2 is anarchy. There needs to be anarchical structure, which is already here. Then we find polarity or power distribution. And there are certain kind of patterns of power distribution are also here in this region. And then social construction, or the narratives which are generated to establish the patterns of amity and patterns of enmity. These are the 4 variables on the basis of which regional security complexes are established. And if I look at the sub complexes, which are also part of it, there are certain sub complexes, and with South Asia subsystem is important. Then we find a Persian Gulf subsystem. Then there is East Africa subsystem, Australasian subsystem, and Red Sea or Horn of Africa subsystem. All these subsystems are present in this bigger security complex. This is the picture which is going to reflect the pattern of interaction which is going to take place. So these are the few points from which I'm going to start the application of this security complex to establish my own points of discussion here. First thing is that 21st century has seen the enhanced interest of extra-regional actors. Yes, states have also already been here for several years, rather which seems like ages. But since 21st century, we see that the nature of interest has increased and changed as well. The first thing which was gathering the attraction was war against terrorism. And now all kind of activities are taking place simultaneously. So we see that enhanced interest of extra-regional actors is here in this region. Then we find that the extra-regional actors, their presence in the region, their enhanced role in the region has compelled the regional actors to reconfigure their foreign policies. Now they have essentially to go either with everyone through balancing, or some of us, like some of countries like Pakistan, who cannot maintain a balancing approach, they have to choose to go with one or the other. So in one way or other way, states have to reconfigure their foreign policy choices. And what we see at the end, the outcome becomes very complex. States have to think about the possible interaction which will be there potentially in the coming years, and the impact of kind of interaction which is taking place right now. Out of these points, the bigger points comes for is what are the dynamics of all these interaction. We can divide them into socio-economic dynamics, then strategic dynamics, and political dynamics, which drive all kind of states interplay in this region. Coming to the first extra-regional actor, which is having a big share of its politics, its strategy, and its economy in this region, that is the USA. And here on the slide, you can see that the picture of that RSC is here. And I'm going to relate all these points with USA's interest. Let's talk about South Asia subsystem. If we look at South Asia, what is identified by Barry Wizan in this system was India and Pakistan, and their historical patterns of relations, which are largely based on enmity. It is already there in South Asia. Then we find newer things which are there in this region. That is relations of these states with the neighboring states, like Pakistan's relations with the landlocked Afghanistan, Pakistan's relation with the countries which are on the other sides, particularly in Persian Gulf. If we look at Pakistan's relation with Iran and Pakistan's relation with Saudi Arabia, that gives another hint of that kind of certain interplay of states. And then there is East Africa subsystem. We find it important here because when we talk about East Africa or whole of the Africa, the focus is on the enhanced trade relations and economic activity, and that has increased since the other countries, particularly China, has brought its focus towards that region. And then we see that there is Australasian subsystem, which is having close relations between Southeast Asia and Australia. And we find different kind of strategic relations, particularly if we look at Quad, the presence of Quad as and AUKUS. We see that the balance of strategy or power distribution is being changed there. And then there is one very significant, particularly in the backdrop of Gaza-Israel issue. We see that Red Sea or Horn of Africa subsystem has become very important, which has a lot more investment of USA in terms of its strong geopolitical relations and strategic relations with Saudi Arabia. And then Israel is also there, which is directly being supported by USA. And then we see that that region is also having non-state security threats in the presence of increased piracy, which was 2 months back was brought to zero. And soon after beginning of the war between Palestine and Israel, we see that the piracy has suddenly increased after that, as well as the traditional threats which are there in the form of Houthi actors there. So this is the subsystem which is being um, established in the presence of USA. Now, the role of extra-regional actor in this RSC is, though it is not a direct part of the boundary of RSC, but what Barry Bizan's approach tell us is that proximity or familiarity is also one strong actor in all this interaction. So we find that USA's interest in this region and its interest in the form of familiarity to the politics of this region. USA has its own set of interests in this region, and these interests include a strategic interest, and it wants to maintain its command and control on the region, and it wants to have a strong connection with the states. If we talk about South Asia, we find that strategic partnership of USA with India has different kind of or a complex set of partnership and deals with each other, which is supporting their connection and which can potentially alter the power distribution in the region. And if we look at the nature of the agreements which are present there, like if we talk about the logistic support which they are supposed to give to each other, it is there. Uh, and this logistic support agreement was signed in 2016, Logistic Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, LEMOA, which is going to support each other in a time of need. and they would be able to support logistically. And then there is communications compatibility and security agreement, which is known as COMCASA, that was signed is in 2018. All these agreements, and then there is BECA, that is about basic exchange and cooperation agreement, which was signed in 2020. And the presence of these certain kind of agreement tells the nature of strategic partnership and the possible enhanced role of USA in the region, particularly in the backdrop of other extra regional actors like China. And after China, that must be identified Russia's presence in Red Sea region. So all this picture is getting quite complex. And when I move to the next extra regional actors, which is China, again, the same picture is there, and through which we can understand the nature of interplay of states in this region. If we look at South Asian subsystem, we see that China has certain kind of relationship with Pakistan in the form of CPEC, which is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, as part of China's Belt and Road Initiative. And then we see that Gwadar is connecting point of maritime Silk Road as well. So that is a very important gateway in China's that geo-economic strategy, which has covered almost 75% of the world. And on the other hand, we find that China has certain kind of relationship with India. uh, on the one hand, there is there is a big volume of trade which is taking place between these two countries, but simultaneously we see that there are territorial issues on the three borders of China and India. In that in that condition, we see that a different kind of complex interdependence is taking place in that region. And then if we look at a Persian Gulf, again, China's role is enhanced there. If we look at China's role, we see that China is trying to have a better relationship with Iran, and through Iran, it is going to connect with Central Asia, and as besides Central Asia, that connectivity can also facilitate the physical connectivity with Russia as well, because already we see that India is having a, corridor, maritime corridor, as well as the land corridors through Iran. So, in the form of INSTC, that is extended to Russia as well. So, maritime corridors and land corridors are also there. These trade corridors facilitate these states to have certain kind of interaction. And then we look at East Africa, we find that China has brought a big volume of its investment, foreign direct investment in East Africa, in different countries. Particularly, Kenya is providing a gateway to connectivity to the hinterlands of Africa, or even to Central Africa, to Western Africa. Then and all that opening is going through Kenya. So there is a direct investment in East Africa and different countries of in that subsystem. So China's investment is there. That means that China has certain kind of relations extended there. And then we see Australasian subsystem, which is also very interesting story. If we look at Australia and we talk about Quad and we talk about AUKUS, we find that Australia has not developed a very strong or significant uh, role in these arrangements, which were established by USA or supported by USA or India, because Australia is quite dependent on China in terms of its export, particularly of iron ore, which does not find strong importers from other part of the world. So there are issues due to which Australia has been quite limited in that part. And then if we look at Red Sea and Horn of Africa subsystem, again we find the role of China, increasing role of China in that region, but we do not find it any kind of offense there. by China. China is there in Djibouti. It is having its naval base there, but we do not find it going to be any kind of offensive act there. Then comes a third actor, which is Russia. Uh, Look at the South Asia subsystem. Russia has very strong strategic partnership uh, since beginning with India. Russia has established good relations with Pakistan, which are supposed to become better in the coming years. And then we see that in Persian Gulf, Russia has already has strong connections in the form of INSTC, that is the trade corridor, international north-south trade corridor that is there. And if we look at that same subsystem of South Asia, we will see that Russia has one more trade corridor, maritime corridor, that starts from Vladivostok and that gets connected with Chennai on the east coast of India. So it has strong trade relations there. In Persian Gulf, India has relations with Iran, and through Iran, it gets connected with Russia. And if Iran gets in good relations with China, which has already taken place in the region, we see that the picture will get a bit complex in that part. And then in East Africa, not directly in the East African subsystem, we find the Russian presence, but we find Russian presence in Africa in northern side, like in Red Sea region, where Russia has developed its logistic facility in Sudan, and about which West believes that that facility has the capability to get converted into a full-fledged naval base. So that is already there. And if we look at the Red Sea pattern and the patterns of enmity which are being developed there between Russia and USA, within that particular subsystem, both of the countries are facing each other. Russia in Sudan and in Saudi Arabia, we find USA, and their interaction is there in Israel or surrounding that part of the Red Sea, where war is there. So the picture is quite different here, and we see that this regional security complex, which has developed here in Indian Ocean region, has different facades where there we find different kind of interplays. And if I conclude my presentation, I will give you a few takeaways. The first takeaway would be the reconfiguration of foreign policies. All the states have been compelled to reconfigure their foreign policies, and now they have to decide that they what they need to do in the coming years to increase their relative gains and to decrease the risk. And then we see that the oceanic spaces have become a new imperative for security complexes, because the security complexes and the wars and the different kind of relations, including cooperation, have largely shifted to maritime domain, the oceanic spaces. And if we look at the particular regional security construct of Indian Ocean region, we find that these three extra regional actors have brought their interaction, which was previously there in Pacific Ocean, has now been brought to Indian Ocean region. Now, this region will provide a proxy ground for these states, and these states will this Indian Oceanic region basically will provide a new space for security complex. And then the third point is economy has now become an instrument of geopolitics. Now states will move around economy to run their geopolitics, and all kind of geopolitics and their power politics and all the patterns of their statecraft will be moving around economy or using that avenue. and conflict is still relevant. We cannot say that conflict or wars have gone obsolete. We see that even right now there is violent conflict in Red Sea. So we cannot say that conflicts have a bygone era. It is still relevant, and anywhere these conflicts can take place if the things are not controlled or not tried to be resolved effectively. And then regional stability and security is endangered now. And we need to work on regionalism. That is the only way through which we can diminish the all kind of security issues here, and we can talk about increased cooperation at regional level. And when the regional connectivity would be better and regional approaches will be working, there will be better outcome of this kind of uh, approach for the coming years. Thank you very much. I hope I did not take much time.
No problem. Actually, our one presenter already has keep the session, so no problem. No issue. We can manage it. Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Maliha Zeba Saba, for your detailed exploration of Indian Ocean region, its geopolitical significance, and your research highlights critical geopolitical shifts in the Indian Ocean region and their implication for regional security and architecture. This perspective is crucial for comprehending the broader strategy contest among the US, China, and Russia. So we have a very thank you so much, Professor Dr. Maliha Zeba Saba, your very important presentation.